The Sarcastic Guide to Etiquette, 11 polite habits that now count as acts of war. Etiquette used to mean knowing which of the 17 forks to use for your tiny shrimp. Now, it's a terrifying minefield where sending a perfectly innocent smiling emoji can inadvertently declare psychological war on a 22-year-old. The rules of politeness haven't just shifted. They've been thrown into a blender with a double shot of espresso and a side of existential dread. What older generations consider good manners, Gen Z and Millennials view as literal acts of hostility. So let's take a sarcastic stroll down memory lane and examine the polite habits of yesteryear that are now practically federal offenses to anyone born after 1990. Number 1. Unannounced phone calls. Number 1 on the hit list is the dreaded ringing phone. Back in the day, randomly calling someone was a sign you cared. Today, a ringing phone is basically a jump scare. When an incoming call flashes on a young person's screen without a heavily negotiated, mutually agreed upon, "Can I call you?" text sent 3 business days prior, they assume someone has either died or the caller is a psychopath. Ringing phones aren't polite. They are an auditory assault on a generation that prefers to do all their communicating via carefully curated memes. Number 2, dropping by without warning. If you thought calling was bad, try showing up uninvited. Once upon a time, neighborly folks would just pop over with a freshly baked casserole. Surprise, they'd say, expecting a warm hug. Now a surprise visit is treated like a home invasion. If you ring a millennial's doorbell without texting first, they will drop to the floor, army crawl past the windows, and wait in the dark until you leave. Their home is their sanctuary, and showing up unannounced forces them to put on hard pants and interact, an unforgivable breach of etiquette. Number 3, leaving voicemails. Then there is the prehistoric artifact known as the voicemail. In the 90s, if you missed a call, leaving a pleasant little audio message was the responsible thing to do. Today, leaving a voicemail is considered an act of passive-aggressive violence. Young people see a voicemail icon and think, "Why are you making me listen to you breathe for a solid minute just to say, 'Call me back'? It's a chore. It's an audio ransom note. Just send a text for the love of all that is holy." 4. Saying you're welcome. You'd think saying you're welcome after someone says thank you would be safe. You would be wrong. To the modern ear, you're welcome sounds incredibly smug, as if to say, "Yes, I did do you a massive favor, and you owe me your life, peasant." The socially acceptable, non-threatening response is now, "No worries, no problem, or of course," which translates roughly to, "Helping you was absolutely no burden to my crushing daily existence. Please don't feel indebted to me." 5. Using periods in text messages. Proper punctuation used to be the hallmark of an educated, polite individual. Not anymore. If you end a text message with a period, you are basically screaming. Sure, is not an agreement. It is a declaration of icy hatred. To the younger generations, texts are a flowing, casual conversation, and dropping a hard period at the end is the digital equivalent of slamming a door in someone's face. If you want to be polite, let that sentence hang off a cliff like a true visionary. 6. Fighting over the restaurant bill. The aggressive restaurant bill dance. Older generations love to dramatically slap down their credit cards, physically wrestling the leather booklet away from their friends to prove their unending generosity. Young people watch this theatrical display of financial dominance with sheer horror. Thanks to apps like Venmo and Zelle, the polite thing to do is spend 20 minutes calculating exactly who ate the extra mozzarella stick and splitting the bill down to the cent. No drama, no weird power dynamics, just cold hard math. Extensive small talk with service workers. It used to be considered deeply polite to strike up a long meandering conversation with the cashier about the weather and your sciatica. Now, please, spare them. Gen Z knows that service workers are overworked, underpaid, and exhausted. The absolute kindest, most polite thing you can do is conduct your transaction with the efficiency of a pit crew. Say hello, pay, and get out. Demanding small talk is basically demanding unpaid emotional labor. And frankly, the barista doesn't care about your grandkids. 8. Using formal titles like sir and ma'am. Yes, sir, and no, ma'am used to be drilled into toddlers as the ultimate sign of respect. Today, using these terms is a fantastic way to instantly offend someone. Not only does it make the recipient feel like they are approximately 100 years old, but it also assumes their gender. which is a massive faux pas in the modern era. The new polite is just awkwardly starting a sentence with "excuse me" and hoping for the absolute best. 9. Asking about personal life milestones. The polite dinner conversation of the past was basically a rapid-fire interrogation. Are you dating? When are you getting married? When are the babies coming? Older folks thought this showed they were invested in your life. Younger generations view these questions as deeply traumatic privacy violations. Given the economy, the housing market, and general existential dread, asking a 28-year-old when they're having kids is less friendly banter and more poking a sleeping bear with a stick of dynamite. Number 10. Offering unsolicited advice. Remember when Aunt Susan would casually mention that your haircut made your face look round, framing it as just trying to help? Yeah, that doesn't fly anymore. Unsolicited advice is now the pinnacle of rudeness. Unless a younger person has explicitly submitted a notarized triplicate request for your opinion on their career, their parenting, or their bangs, keep it to yourself. Just trying to help is now widely translated as, "I think I'm vastly superior to you." 11. Over-apologizing. Finally, the art of the endless apology. It used to be polite to say sorry for literally everything, including apologizing to a chair when you bumped into it. Now, over-apologizing is seen as annoying and emotionally draining. It forces the other person to comfort you. Instead of saying, "Sorry I'm late," and groveling for forgiveness, the modern polite power move is, "Thank you for your patience." It sounds nicer, and it magically reframes your utter lack of punctuality as their shining virtue. If we dig into the sarcastic subtext here, we realize this is entirely technology's fault. We are so constantly connected, buzzed, and notified that our remaining free time is fiercely guarded behind an iron fortress. What older generations see as making an effort, younger people see as a gross misallocation of precious resources. Why use vocal cords and 15 minutes of real time when a perfectly good string of emojis conveys the exact same sentiment in 3 seconds? Efficiency is the new empathy. And let's not forget the great mental health awakening. Traditional etiquette was all about suffering in silence so everyone else could comfortably pretend things were fine. The new etiquette is about protecting your peace at all costs, even if it means ruthlessly ghosting an acquaintance or establishing an uncrossable boundary about attending your cousin's boring baby shower. Politeness is no longer about putting others first. It's about making sure nobody feels emotionally crushed, starting with number 1.